Catherine said, my name is Louise Elliot and I'm a councillor with the Hobart City Council, but I'm here speaking in my personal capacity. It's important I make that disclaimer, as most of my council disagree with what I'll say today. For example, on Monday night this week, the Hobart City Council voted against the statement that women must be able to speak respectfully and constructively on issues of sex and gender without threats and intimidation. They voted against that. It lost 6-5 with one councillor leaving the room. That wasn't a once-off. Back in February, the majority of the Hobart City Council also voted against acknowledging that all community members should feel free to feel safe and comfortable using council's change rooms and showers. They voted against all communities should feel safe. Wow. This is the context I'm coming from. Yeah. I was elected to the Hobart City Council late last year, so what I'm witnessing what I thought were universally accepted concepts fail. For me, this is a first. I've been experiencing a lot of firsts lately, whether it's being called a bigot, a TERF, a clown by my male colleague for daring to speak up in women's spaces. I've also found myself trapped with 30-odd local Hobart women surrounded by an aggressive and volatile mob as we tried to hold a Let Women Speak event. I've seen Tasmanian state politicians join in with the mob and encourage them. They screamed in our faces and spat on us. I found myself now also being investigated by the Tasmanian Anti-Discrimination Commissioner for inciting hatred for stating facts. So, how have I found myself here? When it comes to sex and gender identity, it was sport that first caught my attention, as it's so blatantly, obviously unfair and dangerous to have men competing in women's categories. I've always enjoyed playing netball at the social level, where we have beers after and often before the game too. It was social, but we played to win. I used to play both women's sport, women's netball and mixed netball. I had to give the mixed netball away when I lost a kidney due to cancer, and my remaining kidney is too precious to put in the firing line. I know how different women's and mixed netball is. The women's game is far bitchier, but when there are men on the court, it's rougher, faster, harder. There's more contact, more white line fever, there's more testosterone. It's more dangerous. It's more dangerous because men and women are fundamentally different. From here, I began to see things that I never thought would happen because of their obvious irrationality. They were not only happening, but they were growing in momentum. There's an expectation that you'll accept it no matter how absurd. For example, the craziness of placing male sex offenders in women's prisons and shelters, and men declaring that they can breastfeed. And most recently, describing women as non-men. It wasn't that long ago that I thought that most people were like me, happy to call people by whatever name they chose, beastly careless about how people presented themselves, and I was also stretching to use people's preferred pronouns even though they weren't reconciling in my head. I thought that while we were doing this because there was no harm done, that we as a society still had a firm grip on reality. I didn't realise that commonly accepted facts and truths had been thrown out the window. Facts like it being impossible for humans to change sex, and that men and women are physically very different, and that the vast majority of sexual-related offences and violence is caused by men, and that men, sadly, present an inherent danger to women, and the fact that trans women remain biological men. And it's that fact that's landed me accused of inciting hatred and under investigation by the Anti-Discrimination Commissioner of Tasmania. Thankfully, I'm not facing this insanity alone, and I have the resolve to stand up to such utter ridiculousness. In all of this, it's women who are losing out. It's women who are losing their sports, their spaces, their language, their existence. It's women who are being attacked and threatened and intimidated for not accepting it. But now it's even bigger than that. This is about freedom of thought, freedom of belief, freedom of expression. It's about not denying proven facts. It's about living in a world where facts are not hate. Yeah. I do not believe that saying that trans women are trans women and remain biologically men is in any way extreme, let alone illegal. It is an extreme to believe that women deserve and need their single-sex sport, spaces and language. Yeah. I won't be forced to tell lies, and I won't be forced to quietly comply. I certainly won't be I certainly won't be recoiling and offering any fake apologies. Women's hard-earned rights, freedom of expression, and the need for us to be able to discuss important issues is far too critical.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Yeah.